I just have a Croatia flag just randomly hanging in my bedroom. I'm probably the only person in the whole entire state of Texas that owns a Croatia flag. It's me, Counterpuncher, the week ever Grand Slam trash talking renting champion. And those Croatia women, they are dominating the hell out of those 250 tournaments. All hail the queens of the 250 tournaments! Croatia! 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 Seeing Petra's big, beautiful winning smile filled my heart with so much joy. Watching her win that title. She won that title for herself, for her country, and more importantly, all her fans that have been supporting her. And I would like to thank Petra for winning a title and paying me back for that struggle season I had to sit through all last year. 11 first round losses. Yes, Petra, she went out there and did that last year. And I can go on spending half an hour to 45 minutes talking about how magnificent her matches was, how exciting every rally was, and how amazing every winning point was. And I was so ecstatic to be a part of this journey with her, watching her all that week, winning those matches and winning a tournament. But this is a commentary rant channel, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm so happy Petra won this tournament. Did y'all see that second place runner-up scrub loser trophy? Oh Lord, they gave that girl a cooking pan. Lausanne Open gave that girl a cooking pan for getting second place. Like, Lausanne Open, they didn't even bother to design a second place trophy. They just went into the kitchen and pulled out something from under the sink and just gave it to her. Whew, I'm so happy Petra won this tournament because that would have been embarrassing of her standing up there holding that cooking pan. That first place trophy, that's a nice looking trophy for a 250 tournament. But winning first gum, they gonna sue this tournament for stealing the logo off their wrapping paper to create that first place trophy though. And I'm seeing the fakeness, I'm seeing the phoniness and the fraudulent support towards Petra Martić. All you people that's coming out congratulating her. What was y'all all at last season when Petra was losing badly? All you Petra Martić fans, where were you all at? I was the only one that was covering this lady. I was the only one that was supporting her while she was struggling through last season. I ain't see none of these fans around giving her support. None of her so-called fans was giving her any encouragement. Even I was getting made fun of and called her only fan for continuing to support her through her struggles. Wow, you're a Petra Martić fan? You're her only fan? Lololololol. That's all I was reading all last year. So you all that are coming out and congratulating her, you all are full of shit, okay? All of last year convinced me that majority of Petra Martić's fan base only cares about her when she's winning. But with that being said, so Petra Martić won her second title and naturally all the haters came out because a player cannot get a win without haters having something negative to say, right? But with Petra Martić, it's like the stuff I was reading, it was so disheartening. It's come to a point that women's tennis has gotten so toxic that a player cannot win a tournament without being heavily criticized and having negative things said about them for winning a tournament. And of course, this being women's sports, the criticism is going to be amplified up to like 1,000. They criticized her technique. They criticized her playing style. They criticized her looks, of course, because, you know, she's a woman. Like, they even criticized her age. Like, they criticized how old she was. Like, they completely picked this woman apart and criticized her just for winning a tournament. Well, since my favorites don't win tournaments as often, so I'm not often exposed to the negative criticism that comes with players winning tournaments, so it was demoralizing to see. But when it came to Katerina Alexandrova, when she won, I already knew what I was going in expecting to read and what people was going to say about her winning because of the war in Europe and being banned from playing at Wimbledon. That's why I already made a video and talked about that. And I'm not being sensitive towards reading negative criticism about my favorites. No, it's nothing like that. But with Petra Martić, I'm used to reading the criticism because it's the same criticism I've been reading for like the past 6 years. But the only difference is now ageism is a part of the criticism. It's one of the main criticisms that's being aimed towards her now. Like they were saying stuff like, Olga Danlovich, how could you lose to a player that's 31? Martić old AF, lost to a player in that 30s, she looks like a grandmother. Like, these people are seriously attacking a player for losing to a player that's in her 30s. That's how outrageous the ageism is. And you only see this with women. You don't really see this with men. Because when men win tournaments, when you go to the comments after they win a tournament while in their 30s, nobody's mentioning, oh, they're in their 30s. They're too old. Novak Djokovic, he's winning tournaments at 35, and nobody's talking about he's too old. Yeah, when it's men, they are distinguished and experienced. But if a woman wins a tournament in her 30s, oh, they're too old. How they still winning at this age? And then calling the women auntie. This was the same type of stuff I was reading when Venus and Serena was still playing. But ageist comments being directed towards a woman that's in her early 30s. You see, ageism is influenced by society's obsession with youth. Like a woman, by the time she gets into her late 20s, 30s, by the age of 35, pushing into 40s, she's pushed aside. I would say a woman's prime years are the ages 16 to 24. In that age range, a girl and a woman are seen as they most youthful and attractive. So these ageist tennis fans are bringing that way of thinking into women's tennis. She's in her 30s. She's too old. What happened to the days when it was seen as inspirational for a player to be within her 30s, still playing high-level competitive tennis and being successful at it, without being criticized for being too old? It doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you keep up with your body and stay healthy, you can still compete with players that are 18, 19, and 20 years old. You see, Petra, she proves this. If a player keeps up with themselves and stay healthy, you can go out there and play high-level competitive tennis and still be successful at the age of 31 and defeat a player that's 10 years younger than her to win a tournament. But Petra, she's a well-seasoned veteran player. Her experience won her this tournament, and I understand the significance of her still being able to play competitive tennis and still be successful at winning tournaments in her 30s. Like, I'm truly proud of her success. As one of her fans that's in my 30s, I identify with that, and that's very inspirational that she's still out there competing and having success after turning 30. But only you hating ass, miserable ass tennis fans will turn a woman competing and winning in her 30s into something negative. And this is why nobody cannot take women's tennis seriously, because of how toxic it is. To the point where a woman is being criticized for winning a tournament and being in her 30s. Come on, tennis fans, I need to get it together. As for the criticizing of her technique, mainly, the criticism was geared towards Petra Martić's playing style and her unorthodox forehand. I don't even know why I called her forehand unorthodox, because it looks fine to me, as watching her as a non-technical observant tennis fan. But those stupid ass wannabe comment section tennis coaches saying stuff like, Martić has the worst forehand technique I've ever seen. For some reason, Petra's forehand is the main technical aspect of a tennis game that receives the most criticism. For those criticizing her forehand, I see it as though Petra became a professional tennis player with that forehand. She won this tournament with that forehand. And more importantly, that's a former top 15 forehand. So she's been very successful on tour for nearly 15 years with that same forehand you all are heavily criticizing. And also, since Petra is not a heavy hitter, like a mindless ball basher that just bashes the ball back and forth all match, they was criticizing her like, women's tennis is so trash that a player with a weak forehand, a weak backhand, and a weak service speed can still win a tournament. This is what women's tennis has come to. First of all, you all criticizing her forehand and backhand and saying that it's weak because she plays them both with too much slice. Maybe she wants to play like that. That's the style of tennis she wants to play. The criticizing of her style of tennis, it reminded me of an interview I watched with Petra like 4 years ago when she talked about the style of tennis she plays. And it seemed like to me she was more so defending the style of tennis she plays than explaining her style.
I just wanted to know how you developed this, because you don't see a lot of girls playing like you do. You have a lot of variety, you can do a lot of things. And
this used to be my disadvantage, because while growing up, I had so many options that most of the times I was making bad decisions, and you have to learn to deal with these things, because when you have one-dimensional game, then you do one thing and then there's nothing else to think of. And when I get a ball and I think of 7 options, it's not always easy, to decide what to do and to make it good. So I think that's why my good results came later in my career. I'm 27.
It took you some time to figure it out.
To put it all together. People think, oh, it's great to be talented and to be able to do many things. But I think those players that have a one-dimensional game, they come up much quicker. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, I wouldn't trade it for my game, to be honest. Like, I would rather, okay, it was not nice to wait and to be patient and to go through, bad losses, being lost on the court, not knowing what to do, when, how. But I think now I'm getting there. I feel like I know myself much more, and I think I'm doing the right things now.
This is unbelievable. Like, this woman had to sit in an interview and defend the style of tennis that she chose to play. I've been reading the same criticism about her playing style for 6 years. Imagine being Petra Martić herself. She most likely had to hear the same criticism to her face about her playing style for her entire tennis career. Probably starting while she was still playing juniors, telling her that her tennis is weak because she doesn't play an aggressive style of tennis. And then some of the haters say her tennis is so weak, and then compare her to heavy hitters, to the likes of Aryna Sabalenka and Paula Badoza. When Petra doesn't even play a heavy hitting style of tennis, it's just like comparing apples to oranges. And I feel as though this is a relevant argument to compare players, especially players that play completely different playing styles. If you feel that a player is so weak that they need to be compared to another player that's better, then go watch the player that you are comparing that player to. If you like heavy hitting, aggressive baseline players, then go watch them. And this is what these haters do. They will sit around picking a player apart for playing a style of tennis that they don't even like. Anyways, those who are criticizing Petra's technique, her form, and saying bullshit like, Martić is not even 6 feet, but she moves like she's 6'5". But her forehand technique, her form, and her playing style was good enough for her to win this tournament. And as for those haters that was criticizing her looks, I already talked about this. I talked about this like 2 years ago. It doesn't matter what a woman has achieved or accomplished, her looks are always going to be up to debate first before any of her accomplishments. And that's another thing I wanted to discuss. Another negative thing I see about her a lot. And we shouldn't even be having this conversation because it's like, what does a player's looks have to do with tennis? But I'm just going to go ahead and discuss it anyways. Tennis fans talking about how ugly Petra looks, how undesirable she looks, and how unattractive she is. But me, as an American, I have to raise this question. To all you tennis fans that are saying how unattractive Petra looks, I have to ask. Since Petra Martić is European, and I thought, aren't European women supposed to be the standard of beauty? But you all may argue, no, Petra Martić, she doesn't represent how all European women look in Europe. But she's still European, and European women are supposed to be the standard of beauty, which us Westerners like myself, well, I can't aspire to Eurocentric beauty standards since I'm black. But aren't European women supposed to be the standard of beauty for what us American Westerners aspire to look like? Aren't European women supposed to be the standard of beauty no matter how they look? On a small scale, Petra, she does fit the European beauty standards. You have women over here in the States putting light contacts in their eyes to get light eyes like hers. And women are in the gym trying to get that slim, lean, muscular physique that she has. In Europe, they like women that are tall and slim and thin. That's a European beauty standard. Petra is very tall, and I see comments from these guys saying how much they like her tall, slim, lean, muscular physique. And that's seen as a standard of beauty over there in Europe. So you all who are saying how ugly Petra Martić looks, but you can talk about how ugly she looks all day, but she's European and European women are the standard of beauty. And by the way, Petra's tennis is so beautiful, and there's nothing more attractive than a chick that's out there winning tournaments. And that was another thing that I was reading. I was reading that some of those Croatians were saying that was 2 victories for Croatia because Petra won the title today too. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up. No, Petra, she's representing America. Like, she won that title for the United States. That's a victory for us Americans. That's our victory. Like, Petra Martić, she won that title for Croatia. So you Croatians, go and celebrate Petra's title win over there in Croatia. But Petra's win, that was a win for American women's tennis. She's representing America. She's playing under America's banner. She won that title for America. And anyways, Petra, she hasn't been Croatian since 2012, when she first made the decision at 16 that she wanted to play for the greatest country in the whole entire world. She wanted to represent America. So this was a win for the United States. You tennis fans need to leave that just because a player was born in another country, that's a win for that country also bullcrap back at Wimbledon. Because that was the same thing that those Russians was trying to do at Wimbledon when Elena Rybakina won, trying to treat that victory as a victory for Russia also. No, that was a victory for the country that Elena was representing, and that was Kazakhstan. She said something about Russia, the Russian Tennis Federation wasn't giving her proper funding towards her career. So maybe Russia, if y'all would have had funded her career, then she would have had stayed with Russia. But she went to a country that properly believed in her talents and funded her career into her winning a Grand Slam. So that's not a victory for Russia, that's a victory for whatever country she was representing when she won. But anyways, Bernarda Pera, she won her first title for America. She has been finally assimilated into American sports culture of winners because we love winners. We love winning. And that's what Bernarda did. She went out there and won a title for America. But this is all I wanted to discuss about these old hating ass tennis fans hating on Petra Martić for winning this tournament. And this has been Counterpuncher, and I'm out. Got me out here dressed up looking like I'm about to go commit a crime in Croatia. This is exactly how they dress when they go out and commit crimes in Croatia.